Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ray and welcome to day 1 of Bookmas. I'm so excited. I think it's gonna be so much fun. I am someone with a 9 to 5 work from home, stay at home mom. So the plan is to start posting December 2nd until the 24th every other day, but I'm not gonna restrict myself to a posting pattern. If it's not working for me, it's not working for me. But the goal is to hopefully do Bookmas this year and see how it goes. In today's video, we're gonna be going through my winter reading list. So these are just all the books that I have on my radar to read in the winter time. My winter TBR, if you will. A lot of these books are just part of series or finishing series, and I'm really excited to get into it. I'm excited to look back on this video and see which of these books I read. I am very much so a mood reader to my core, and so these are subject to change. Right now in time, these are the books that I feel like I want to read. I do have some fantasy books, I've got some literary fiction, then I also have some romance, so we'll go through each genre in itself. I'm going to be starting with all the series I'm in the middle of for that genre, and then we'll go into the other books that I want to kind of read in that genre in the winter time. I'm so excited that I'm doing Bookmas. I've just been feeling the Christmas mood for so long now. So yeah, let's get into talking about the books that I'm hoping to read in the winter, my winter reading list. First up, we have A Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross. This is the second book in the Elements of Cadence duology by her. I love Rebecca Ross's writing. I read Divine Rivals by her. That was the first book I read by her. Loved it. Loved Ruthless Vows. I still have to read Wild Reverence. That one's still on my list. I thought, hey, I love those books. Why not read more of her books? Duh. And so I read A River Enchanted this year, and this is the second book in that duology. So I loved A River Enchanted. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. I've just heard this one's incredible as well. I'm very interested to see how I feel about this book. I feel like this one could be a 5-star read and hopefully a series I can finish out. I think I'm in the middle of over 20 series. I'm gonna have to go through and kind of just see, but I would love to just get at least 5 series checked off my series list next year. I think that's gonna be a big goal for me. I used to be someone who would sit and read a series until the end and then move on to another book or another series. And I don't know when the shift happened. I think it was 2 years ago. I just stopped. I just decided, I can put this down, go to another book and come back to this. And now I'm in the middle of 20 series. So really don't know what happened there, but the goal is to finish 5 of my series next year. And I think there's more than 5 in this pile. So we'll see how it goes. But this is the first book that I want to hopefully get to. And then we have Legendary by Stephanie Garber. I read Caraval earlier this year. Absolutely loved it. I think I gave it 4.5 or 5 stars, but my hope is to finish out the series in the winter time. I really enjoyed Caraval. I really liked it. I had such a fun time reading it, and I just feel like I'm going to enjoy the series. And the goal is not next year, maybe the year after. We'll see where we get, but I want to read the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. I have those beautiful UK Blackwell's covers. So the goal is to finish this series over the winter, hopefully, and into next year. Finale is also on that list, just so I can get the series done. And then another duology that I would love to finish is the Crimson Moth duology by Kristen Cicerelli. I read Heartless Hunter a while ago and I loved it. That was such a good fantasy. It's actually one that I recently recommended to my sister because she's trying to get into reading and get into fantasy, and I just feel like it's such a perfect starter fantasy that gives you everything that you want in a fantasy. And that ending I still think about. It had my jaw on the floor and it took me 3 to 5 business days to recover from that ending. So I'm so curious to see where the story is going to go from that point on. I'm just intrigued to see how they're gonna solve and resolve everything that happened in that book. I have really high expectations for it because I love the first one so much. So I think that's what always scares me of reading new releases that I'm excited about, is I have such high expectations because they're obviously from authors and series that I love. Okay, and then not so much series that I'm in the middle of, but these are series that I want to start in the winter time, and the first one is Heavenly Bodies by Amani Ariu. I bought this initially when it came out traditionally published, and then I just didn't end up reading it, but thank God for that because now the second book just came out a couple days ago, so I can actually read the first and second book back to back if I want to, which is great. I feel like having the first 2 books in a fantasy series are always nice because book 1 usually leaves off on a big cliffhanger, so I'm excited to read them both, but I'm just gonna put this one on my winter TBR. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I have not heard a single bad review about this book, so that makes me really excited to read it. I know a lot of creators that I follow who also have similar reading tastes really love this book and gave it 5 stars, so I think I'm gonna really enjoy this one. Another series that I want to start is the Lady of Darkness series by Melissa K. Roerick. I do want to read her Legacy series, however, I read my first dark fantasy, which was Red City, and it did rattle me a little bit. I really enjoyed that book, but I feel like I can't just read back-to-back dark fantasy. I don't know if this is going to be any less intense in the Legacy series, but I do want to start with this. I feel like a lot of people recommend starting with this series first, and I bought this one when she had indie published it, so I've had this one for a little while now, and I just feel like I do want to get into her writing and see if I enjoy it. I've just heard really good things, so I'm excited. I'm going to read the Lady of Darkness series first, and then hopefully the Legacy series, but I'm going to focus on this one next year, I think. I have this one and the second book. I don't know how many books are in this series, but I'm hoping to get to this one. So those are all the books that I want to read in the fantasy genre. Moving on to literary fiction, the next 2 books I'm going to talk about are from the same series, and that's the 5th and 6th books in the Emma M. Line series. This series is so fun. If you want something witty with good banter, good found family, just great unique characters, highly recommend it. People say it gives off Bridgerton vibes, but our main character Emma is just, it's so fun to be in her head just because she's such a strong female character, and she's also just really funny and does not take BS from anybody. I just love being in her head. Each book is written over the span of 2 months, and we're following Emma's diary or journal entries, so we're really getting into her head and all of her thoughts unfiltered, which is so fun to read. read. And essentially the story is she is expected to have an inheritance and she's gonna kind of build her life with that. However, her cousin, who is just the absolute worst, spends all of it, and now she has to kind of rebuild her life a little bit. The way that she interacts with the people around her is just so interesting, and she's just such a headstrong character. Overall, it's just such a good series, and I feel like the found family is just gonna get better and better. Highly recommend it. And if you do decide to read this series and you're a little bit confused with the first book, read the first two. They're both under 200 pages, so really it's like reading one book. But I found that I was enjoying the first book, but I really connected to the characters in the second book. And I just love the way that the books are written in terms of diary entries and journal entries. I think it's so much fun to read that. But I don't know, I love this series. I think it's so much fun. And I definitely think it's an underrated series. I'm hoping to finish out the whole series next year. There's 8 books out right now, but I think that there's going to be a 9th book. I could be wrong. I love this story. I love being in Emma's head. She's such a fun character to be following around. Another series that I'm hoping to finish out in the winter season, just because I feel like these books are perfect to read in the winter, is the Beartown trilogy. So this is The Winners by Frederick Bachman. I read Beartown last year and I really enjoyed his writing style. He has such a unique writing style that I absolutely fell in love with. The way that he writes his characters and just being in the heads of those characters, he writes them so uniquely different. He's so good at just being in the head of the character he's in. He's just so intentional with the way that he writes his characters, and I feel like when I was reading Beartown, he introduced so many characters all at once, so it kind of was a little bit confusing, but not knowing how they were all going to connect because they were in just such different storylines at the beginning, and him just bringing it all back around to connect nicely was just so well done. He just really rounds out his stories really well. So I really enjoy his writing, and I do want to finish off this series in the winter time so that way I can get to some of the standalone books I have by him. I would love to read My Friends some point in the summer or springtime. I do want to focus on finishing this series first. I have a love letter to whiskey by Candy Steiner. Now, I've heard really good things about this book, but I've also heard that it's heartbreaking and devastatingly beautiful. I don't know a single thing about what this book's about, but when I was going to check this book out at the cash register when I was buying it, the cashier said it's one of her all-time favorite books. Heard so many good things about it, and I do feel like it's going to be hard-hitting, and sometimes you just need an emotional book to just absolutely wreck you. So the next book I have is Here One Moment by Leon Moriarty. Now, this is such an intriguing storyline. You have a bunch of passengers on a plane, and one woman gets up and starts telling everybody how they're gonna die, and throughout the book, everyone starts dying in the way that she said, so I feel like it's gonna be very interesting. There's gonna be a good mystery aspect to it. I feel like I haven't read a mystery outside of like a thriller mystery in a long time, and so I'm really just intrigued by the premise of the story. I'm excited to read it. I feel like it's gonna be really interesting. It was also Indigo's best book of 2024, so I feel like it's gonna be good and I'm gonna enjoy it regardless. Okay, so those are all the lit fic books that I'm hoping to get to in the winter time, and now we're gonna move on to the romance. In the romance category, we've got Heartless by Elsie Silver. I read Flawless back in May for my birthday, and I absolutely loved it. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. The banter was just so funny. I don't think a book has ever made me laugh out loud the way that Flawless did, but it was so much funnier than I was expecting. I know this is a lot of people's favorite in the series, so I am excited to get into it. However, I am more excited to read this one, which is Powerless by Elsie Silver. This is the 3rd book in the Chestnut Spring series, and I don't know, something about the way that Jasper was in the first book. I loved his one-liners. I thought he was so funny, and I'm so intrigued by his characters. I am really excited to read this book. I do feel like it'll be my favorite in the series. Something about Jasper's character I really liked a lot in the first book, and so this is the story that I'm most excited for. I'm hoping to finish off the Chestnut Spring series in 2026. Continuing another series, we have Yours Truly by Ivy Jimenez. This is the 2nd book in her Part of Your World Interconnected Standalone series. I read Part of Your World and loved it. It took me such a long time to want to pick that book up, and mainly because I was just put off from the age gap romance trope in the book, and I didn't think that I was going to enjoy it, but I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I would. I'm so excited to read this one because I've heard that it has really good anxiety representation in the book, and I've just heard a lot of good things about this book, so I'm excited to read it. It'll be the 2nd book I read by her. Starting a new series, I want to read Wildcat by Rebecca Genshak. This is a hockey romance. I feel like wintertime is perfect for a hockey book. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about things like The Deal by Elle Kennedy, Mile High. I just feel like I haven't heard many people talk about this one. I do have a couple other hockey romances that I do want to read, but this is just one that I haven't heard anyone talk about, so I'd love to get to it. Those are all the books that I have on my winter reading list or my winter TBR. Let me know if you've read any of them and what you thought about them, or if any of these are on your radar for the next year. If you stayed this long, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you want to keep up with my content, and I hope to see you in the next one.